Welcome to the Great Uplift for August, moving into September. Today, I'm kind of excited because we've been doing a lot of review of prior months, and today I really wanted to look at what's my process for going forward into the next month. How do I use what we've done, either what you wrote down or what song you listened to or what you noticed on the day of the 12 days of Christmas for the coming months. They say hindsight's 2020, and we've been looking at that. So what does foresight look like, and how do we use this tool that we've been playing with to help us going forward into our lives? So I do want to do a quick review of August so that you guys can see kind of where I was. As you know from last month's video, and if you didn't get to watch last month's video, there's a link somewhere you can watch that. I looked back over July and I had a lot of guidance from a beautiful dog named Freya, the goddess in my life. And she had a lot of impact. I did quite a bit of research into Freya and my own Norwegian heritage because I'm a quarter Norwegian. And that was just beautiful. And I feel like it was really empowering throughout the month of August. So quick review for August is as you know, I had COVID and I was coming out of it. And I literally had been wearing the same clothes for 2 days. So don't judge, I was sick. And you know, when you're coming out of something, it was such a metaphor for like the bigger way we live life. When we're sick and we're not feeling well, and it's so easy to and we need to cocoon and like not do anything. And then you start to come out of that and you feel new and fresh and you're like, oh, I have energy again. And think about like, if there was a habit in your life that you just needed to get some time away from, and then you could come out of that habit into something new and different, or a relationship or whatever. It's such a beautiful metaphor. And I sat with that through my month of August. And that's really what I experienced through my month of August. It felt like this transition month of awakening. So that brings me into September. In September, I actually, in August, I didn't write down very much. I was feeling better and I think I was just excited and moving on. So this was my August, and you can pause the video and read that if you'd like, it doesn't matter to me. And my words were hope and uplift, and really experienced that. My September, on the other hand, was a full page. And I know I tend to write, and not everybody does. No judgment, please. This is my process, and that's one of a gazillion. There are as many processes as there are people on the planet. So your process will be different. The reason that we share these is to give you maybe some guidance, some like, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way. Or maybe I could try something myself, try it differently or whatever. So take it for what it is. Again, my process. So what I do when I go forward into a new month is I review the month. So today is the 31st of August, and I don't have to do it on the day before the month. I could do it on the weekend before, or whatever works for you. I look at the coming month. What did I write down? And what do I notice? Because obviously I wrote a lot. So it's not that I'm going through it line by line and saying, oh my God, what should my September look like? There are no shoulds. I read through it. As I read through it today, what I noticed for me was conscious choice and tools. So those were two things that I wrote about, like I was becoming more aware of on that particular day, which was January 2nd. It's September, which represents September. So I consciously choose, and I said, this is what I wrote, I consciously shifted my mindset. And then another thing that I had written, and it was further down on the page, was that I was using my tools. I saw a program showing up in my life, like an old habit, a way of doing things that was running my life instead of me consciously choosing it. It was running my life in the background. And I have tools like stop, drop, and meditate, right? We've done the stop, drop, and roll. We've done stuff like that. So you also have tools out there. And so I became more conscious of my tools. So what I did with that was, it's interesting because in the mornings I meditate, I do some spiritual practices, and then I journal. And I just, it's not journaling, actually, it's flow writing. And the difference is that journaling is I sit and I think about what it is I want to write. And flow writing is I don't think, I literally just let my hand write and I don't stop writing for 10 minutes. I just let myself flow, and whatever, even if it's blah, 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 I can't think of anything to write right now, I write that. So whatever is the flow that's coming through me, I just let it go. And one of the things that came up today was consciously choosing. So I thought that was interesting that today on my flow writing, and then also in my September, and I read the September after I did my flow writing. So things like that, there are no coincidences. So I start to pay attention. So I've asked myself 2 questions going into September is, if I were to consciously choose to do something differently in September, what would it be? And what are the tools that I'm feeling drawn to, that I'm feeling called to help me, that maybe I've put on a shelf or I don't use anymore, or that I've forgotten, or that maybe I don't even know that I'm being drawn towards? And not that I'm looking for an answer for either of those. Those are quests. We've talked about quests before. So when I go on a quest, I don't instantly expect the answer. It's going to be a journey. This is my journey for September. The other thing that I do is I look forward into what it is that my future self wants for me. So I'll sit down and I'll look at where I want to be a month from now. And I do this regularly, of a month from now, a year from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now, etc. So I'm always pulling the future towards me instead of taking my past and putting it in front of me. So I do the reviews, meaning that I look back over what has happened, not so that I go, oh, that's something that I need to put in my future. It's so that I recognize that's something that I want to be aware of going forward. And there's maybe a semantics difference, and semantics is everything, right? How we use our words sets up our life. That's I'll call it the scaffolding for our life. So a simple example of that is I have stopped using spending my time. The phrase, I don't like spending my time, because when you spend something, it's gone. I invest my time. And when I think about that and I change that word, the semantics, I think about what I do with my time very differently. And now my time has become more sacred to me because it's something that I invest. And when you invest something, you get exponential returns on it. When you spend something, it's gone. And I want to invest my time. In me, I'm worth it. In you, you're worth it. So, all right, back to September. As I move through my September, I've set up my quest, and I do a weekly review. And sometimes I don't, I forget. I'm not perfect. Actually, did you know that perfect means whole? It doesn't mean some sense of like ideal, like there's nothing wrong. Perfect actually means whole. So I take that back. I am perfect. There's another semantics for you. As you go through your upcoming month, so This is true whether you actually did the 12 days of Christmas with us or not. You have an opportunity, and I think I say this at the end of all of my videos. You have an opportunity today, tomorrow, the next day, every single day is an opportunity to look forward and say, what am I noticing today that I want to take forward with me? What is it that I'm being called to that I want to pull into myself? Because the future is actually what creates the past. So connecting to your future self, to the things that want to happen in your life, and creating some quests along those lines, like I'm doing for myself for September. Those are the foundations of what actually shifts and changes our lives. This is obviously, again, I'll repeat, my process. And because there are so many other processes out there and possibilities, one of the things that Stephanie and I are going to do is next year, we're going to do a private group that's live. And we're going to be doing this with you guys every month throughout the year. It'll have multiple impacts, one of which is we'll get to see lots of different ways of doing things, and all of them are beautiful and correct and awesome and will help each other. Two is accountability, which is huge, because if you sign up for, oh, I'm going to do this every month with Maren and Stephanie, then you're more than likely going to do your 12 days of Christmas and you'll show up to it. And that's where real change happens. I know for myself, when Stephanie and I started to do it together and I was more accountable for it, I started doing it differently. And the changes that both of us have seen in our lives in the last couple of years has been astronomical. It's just been amazing. And we want to share that with all of you. So we'll make it really reasonable, and there will be more information coming. I'll probably have more information on it in next month's video. So in the meantime, if you have any questions or want more information or have a comment, please share your thoughts in our Facebook group, because it helps everybody. Great. So we will see you next month on our Great Uplift, the 12 Days of Christmas.